What would your ancient ancestor do if he saw fire for the first time? Would he call it a miracle, a monster, or just the world's angriest orange squirrel, having a very dramatic evening? Imagine standing in the dark, long before cities, houses, lamps, kitchens, blankets, or emergency snacks. The sun drops, the air gets colder, the world changes shape, a harmless bush becomes suspicious. A shadow becomes a possible predator. Every tiny sound in the grass suddenly feels like nature clearing its throat before doing something rude. For early humans, night was not cozy. Night was not movie time. Night was not a peaceful break from the day. Night was a giant black question mark with teeth. Then lightning strikes a tree. The sky flashes. The ground shakes. A tree begins to glow. Orange light jumps from branch to branch. Smoke climbs upward. Sparks fly into the air like tiny angry stars. Animals scatter. Birds burst from the trees. And somewhere nearby, a very confused ancient human probably thinks, "Great, the tree is alive now." At first, fire was not a tool. It was danger with excellent lighting. It burned. It moved. It swallowed dry grass. It cracked branches open. It made heat you could feel from far away. It looked alive, but it was not alive. It danced, but it had no legs. It ate wood. But it had no mouth. For a mind trying to understand the world, fire must have been terrifying and strangely fascinating at the same time. The safe rule was simple. Stay away from the glowing death flower. But humans are not famous for staying away from interesting problems. We are the animal that looks at danger and eventually asks, "Can I use this without becoming a tragic lesson?" That question changed everything. The first big step may not have been making fire from nothing. It may have been keeping fire, a burning branch after a wildfire, a glowing ember hidden inside ash, a tiny flame carried carefully from place to place. Imagine a whole group treating one smoking stick like the most important celebrity in prehistory. Do not drop it. Do not let the wind kill it. Do not let the clumsy cousins step on it. Do not sneeze directly into the future of civilization. Once humans learned to protect fire, fire was no longer just happening out there. It came into the camp, and when fire entered the camp, life began to bend around it. Food changed first. Before controlled fire, dinner was a much tougher negotiation. Raw roots were hard. Meat was chewy and risky. Some plants were unpleasant, some were dangerous. Chewing took time. Digestion took energy. A raw meal was less like a restaurant and more like a challenge from the universe. Cooking changed that. Heat softened food. It broke down tough fibers. It made many foods easier to chew and digest. It helped reduce some dangers from germs and toxins. Cooked roots became more useful. Cooked meat became easier to eat. Suddenly, the body did not have to work quite as hard for every bite. That sounds simple, but simple things can reshape history when food becomes easier to digest. The body can get more usable energy. Energy matters. Energy is not just movement. Energy is growth, repair, learning, pregnancy, childhood, cooperation, and brain power. The human brain is a hungry little boss. It sits inside the skull using a huge amount of energy while pretending it is just thinking about lunch. Fire did not instantly make humans geniuses. Evolution does not hand out upgrades like a game reward. But cooking may have helped create the conditions for something unusual. An animal with a demanding brain, a more flexible diet, and enough extra energy to become very curious, very social, and occasionally very weird. Then fire changed the night. For most animals, darkness is serious business. Vision gets worse. Cold creeps in. Predators move more confidently. The world becomes harder to read, and when the world is hard to read, the brain fills in the blanks with fear. A campfire pushed back that fear. Not completely. The darkness was still there. The predators were still out there. The night did not suddenly become friendly. But fire made a circle, a warm circle, a glowing circle, a place where humans could see faces, hands, food, tools, and each other. That circle mattered. Inside the firelight, people had warmth, they had protection, they had smoke that could bother insects, they had light that made danger easier to spot. Animals that feared flame were less likely to wander straight into camp like rude neighbors, arriving without snacks. For the first time, night was not only something to survive. It became extra time. Think about how strange that is. Before fire, the sun controlled the schedule. When the sun left, the useful day ended. But with fire, humans could keep doing things after dark. They could repair tools, cook food, watch children, clean hides, share warnings, plan tomorrow, sit together without immediately being swallowed by the darkness. Fire stretched the day beyond daylight. And once humans had extra time together, social life changed. A campfire is not just heat, it is a gathering machine. Put a flame in the middle of a group, and everyone naturally turns toward it. Faces glow, eyes become visible, hands move, expressions become easier to read. One person gestures, another reacts, someone laughs, someone looks worried. Someone tries to steal the best roasted piece and learns that social judgment is older than civilization. Around fire, information could travel differently. A hunter could describe where the herd moved. A gatherer could warn which plant caused a terrible afternoon. An elder could remember a trail, a flood, a dry season, or a dangerous animal. A child could watch, listen, and learn without needing to make the mistake personally. That is powerful. Useful information became performance. Performance became memory. Memory became story. Story became culture. This is where fire becomes more than technology. It becomes a stage. No microphones, no chairs, no classroom, no projector. Just sparks, shadows, faces, and the oldest kind of audience. Maybe someone acted out a hunt. Maybe someone copied the movement of a predator. Maybe someone used a stick to draw tracks in the dirt. Maybe someone exaggerated the story because, honestly, humans have probably been making stories more dramatic since the beginning. But even exaggeration has a purpose. A memorable story is easier to remember than a boring list of instructions. Do not eat that plant is useful. Remember when Uncle Grok ate that plant and spent the afternoon arguing with a rock? Is unforgettable. Around the fire, learning became social, and social learning is one of humanity as secret weapons. A single human is not very impressive compared with many animals. No claws worth bragging about. No armor, not the fastest runner, not the strongest bite. If survival were a talent show, early humans would not win on raw physical stats, but a group that can share knowledge, care for children, remember danger, teach skills, and plan ahead? That is a different creature. Fire helped create a place where that creature could grow. It may have changed the meaning of home. Home was no longer just where bodies stopped moving. Home became the warm center, the place where food was shared, the place where children could sit close and watch adults work, the place where injured people could rest, the place where old knowledge could survive inside younger minds. This matters because human children are wonderfully unfinished. They need years of care, years of teaching, years of protection. They are cute, loud, curious, and terrible at not walking toward danger. A safer camp helped long childhoods. Long childhoods helped better learning. Better learning helped humans become more flexible, more cooperative, and more imaginative. Fire also changed materials. Wood could be hardened. Food could be transformed. Smoke could preserve things. Much later, heat would help create pottery, metal tools, and entire technologies. But even early on, fire taught a deep lesson. The world is changeable. A raw root can become dinner. A dark night can become a meeting. A frightening flame can become protection. A wild force can become a partner. That is a huge psychological shift. Fire taught humans that nature was not only something to endure. Sometimes, with enough care, attention, and shared knowledge, nature could be managed. But here is the twist. Fire did not change humans only because it was powerful. It changed humans because it demanded responsibility. A flame is useful but needy. It must be fed, it must be watched, it must be protected from wind and rain. Too little attention and it dies. Too much carelessness and everything else may catch fire. Fire was almost like adopting a tiny dragon with no emotional stability. To keep it alive, a group needed cooperation. Someone gathered wood, someone guarded embers, someone kept children away. Someone remembered how to carry it, someone understood when to feed it, when to calm it, and when to respect it. The flame became a social object. Humans are shaped by social objects. We gather around them, we create rules for them, we argue over them, we tell stories about them. The campfire may have been one of the first great centers of shared attention. And now look at us, we still gather around controlled light. Kitchen stoves, street lamps, living room screens, city windows glowing after sunset, phones shining on tired faces at midnight. We say we are modern, but every night we still drift toward little pools of light like ancient brains, looking for safety, warmth, information, and connection. Ancient humans stared into flames to feel less alone in the dark. Modern humans stare into glowing rectangles for almost the same reason. Except now, the glowing thing also shows raccoons stealing food, people arguing about sandwiches, and 10,000 opinions nobody asked for. Maybe we did not leave the campfire behind. Maybe we miniaturized it, electrified it, and taught it to send notifications. Of course, fire was not pure magic. It brought smoke, burns, accidents, and responsibility. Every powerful tool has a price. The same flame that cooked food could destroy a shelter. The same light that protected a camp could demand constant attention. But the bigger story remains astonishing. Before fire, humans lived inside the schedule of the sun. After fire, humans began editing the schedule. Before fire, darkness scattered attention. After fire, a glowing circle pulled people together. Before fire, food was mostly what nature handed over. After fire, food became something humans could transform before fire. Fear ruled the night. After fire, people could face the night together. That may be the real reason the first fire changed humans forever. It did not simply make our ancestors warmer or better fed. It created a center, a place to gather, a place to teach, a place to remember, a place to imagine. A tiny flame became a kitchen, a heater, a shield, a classroom, a theater, a meeting place. And eventually a symbol. It was technology, but it was also company. And maybe that is why fire still feels different from other tools. Nobody gets emotional staring at a spoon. But people can stare into flames for hours, as if some ancient part of the brain still recognizes an old friend. So what do you think? If ancient humans could see us glowing under electric lights and staring into little rectangles at night, would they think we became more advanced, or would they just say we found a stranger kind of fire?